what's going on, geeks? Maxusthebeast here, and welcome back to a unique video. Today I have been inspired by the great YouTuber Luke TheNotable to try my hand at a 20 drops video. Now, for those of you who might not be aware of who Luke TheNotable is, or this style of video, you might be wondering, what are you on about? The whole goal of the whole 20 drops, or in his case he did a lot of 100 drops, is to select a location in Fortnite or other games to land and get better and improve by playing the game. You drop at this location a certain amount of times, that's your gimmick. And so this time, I decided to start off small with 20 drops at the 7 vaults. Now, some of you might be wondering, hey, what exactly is a 7 vault? Especially if you haven't been playing Chapter 3. Well, let me do a bit of background. At the start of Chapter 3, 6 locations, funnily enough, affiliated with the endgame faction known as the 7, were added across the map. These little facilities stored underneath them a secret loot vault, which could only be opened with 2 or more players, or in solos, 2 or more humanoid entities that could be brought in and scanned in order to open the vault and get loot. These locations were scattered, again, all across the map, and there are quite a few of them. Each of them with their own unique layout and strategies for looting. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Game number 1, I am dropping directly on top of the first 7 base located up in the mountains a bit north of Logjam Lumberyard. There was a Venom that landed with me. Now, these NPCs you see here are 7 scouts, and they are actually friendly. However, this feller was not. He got clingered, but unfortunately, I bit the dust, and he went down with me. We end up in a ditch watching some Star Wars Spider-Man heal up. I don't know how we got here. Game number 2, I am landing at another 7 vault, this time a bit west of Greasy Grove. This one was surprisingly busy. Usually you'll encounter 1 or 2 people going to the 7 vaults, and today we got one of the 2 drops. We got ourselves a Chrysabelle and some corrupted skin, and all I had in my name was my trusty old shield and a harpoon gun. Chrysabelle went down pretty easily, and they had a shotgun, which they did not use. However, I was still not alone, and I put down this other opposition with my trusty old harpoon gun. Looting this place is pretty easy, just walk around and grab stuff. There's only a handful of chests outside of the vault, so loot can be meager, unless you're willing to tackle the vault. Now, again, in solos, what you need to do in order to open one of these vaults is to either convince another player to go down there with you and then betray the other by the time that the vault opening is done, bring an animal in there, hire a companion and bring them in there, or down one of the 7 agents and then drag their corpse in front of the scanner to unlock it. However, this will draw the attention of the other one. Both of them have full shield and can do a decent bit of damage because for some reason they can sort of aim. The reason I didn't decide to go for the vault for this one was because I'm so close to Greasy Grove, and before recent updates, Greasy Grove was one of the sweatier drops. So if I were to unload on these 7 agents, it would probably draw some unwanted attention. Another thing to keep in mind when you are at one of these locations is that resources, depending on which one you go to, are kind of scarce. So farm as much as you possibly can. However, there is a good rotation capability located right beside these POIs, those being rifts. All you need to do then is just find one of the rifts, walk into it, and that's a free launch pad, essentially. With it, I was able to make it to zone with little to no hassle, and spot 2 of the friendly reindeer NPCs they had in the game for the Winterfest. Yeah, some of this footage is a little bit old, bear with me. As I was carrying on my heroic duties up these hills, I was tragically shot in the back. Thankfully, I'm a decent sweat builder, so I was able to build over top of myself and eventually get a decent vantage point to stare at this person. I finally saw them and shot down a tree next to me because these Valheim physics can land on people. Unfortunately, this one decided it wanted to go the complete opposite direction. But it started rolling, so I thought I had a chance, but no. This person clearly knew what they were doing. They built over top of me pretty quickly. But with my shotgun, I was able to pop their shields equally as fast. And with a harpoon gun, I can immediately harpoon through their builds with just one shot. My shotgun was doing some damage, I was pressuring them by knocking down their buildings, and they forgot to put down a floor, which meant I can just waltz right in. Bye, feller. And he had a crown. After doing a bit of healing, I made it up to this ranger station looking place. I was able to find some more chug splashes to get some more shield back. And found one of my favorite items in the game, the guzzle juice. For those who aren't aware, the guzzle juice functions sort of like slurp juice used to, although instead of healing your shields, it would only heal your health. However, it is still a very useful tool to have. While breaking through the ceiling in the bathroom, I discovered one of these Shanta pellets, which you need to collect in order to complete challenges to unlock additional styles for one of the Battle Pass skins. After a bit of farming, I heard the sounds of a quad crasher approaching, and then just seconds later, one flew right overhead and went directly into the lake near Camp Cuddle. Now, quad crashers aren't really known for their ability to swim, so this person had a Spider-Man out, which led them right back on top of the hill with me. Ambush time! My aim was pretty bad, but thankfully so was theirs. They boxed me in pretty quickly and were getting ready to go in for an edit trick, but I was able to get out just in the nick of time. I was able to build up, shoot the wall, and finally get some high ground. This person knew what they were doing. They built a cone and completely boxed themselves in safely, and then edited out, coned me off, and did whatever they were going to do underneath me. So I decided to start putting cones everywhere to make their life a bit more difficult. But they decided they wanted to run away, so I decided to play some Valheim. This worked. It knocked their shield off entirely. I was going to try to spam at them, but better idea would be to push that. I was unfortunately too slow and they were able to get some shields back. However, they were panicked. They boxed back up again, and I had an opportunity to reload. Got some high ground, and then, when they least expected it, their own cone essentially got them killed. That felt good. Not long after that, I made my way back on top of the hill, only to find that some sweat had made their home here. Well, I've been here most of the game. This ranger station might as well be mine. Get off my turf, please. Unfortunately, this tower camper was able to get some cheesy hits in and get me on a pretty low health. Thankfully, I had plenty of healing items to counteract that damage. After a bit of work, I was able to sandwich this person in between myself and somebody else who was shooting at them. And just like that, they finally died. After looting their corpse and going back for some additional material farming, I was suddenly shot in the back. An Ura had found me, and one of these sweaty skins might very well spell my downfall. I was being pressured, they kept shooting, and all I could do was build. The zone was to my back. This wasn't looking good for me. They put a cone down, I had 19 health. This was looking rough. I managed to do a little bit of damage with my shotgun before I decided it was time to leave. I botched a launch pad, they spider-personed away, and I was left to my own devices. I managed to survive, but I was unfortunately sandwiched in between the last two people in this lobby, and also had the zone on my back. So with very low health, I was finally gunned down and placed third. Game number 3, it's back to the mountain. And it looked like the drop was going to be a whole lot calmer than the previous ones. Now, a bit of a interesting piece of notification. An important thing to note when looting this place is that there's oftentimes a chest that'll spawn on top of that hill. So when dropping down, if you feel like someone's going to contest you over loot in the actual base, then go take a peek at the top of the hill. You might find yourself a chest. Now I noticed on the minimap that there was a speech bubble indicating that there was a friendly NPC nearby who I could talk to. This is Agent Jones. Now Jones technically rotates around different 7 facilities, however I've usually only really found him here. He is a hireable NPC, and he will fight alongside you, although he's kind of glitchy sometimes. However, he might be just what I need in order to unlock this vault, so trying to break platforms out from underneath him, he really wanted to get out, and when Jones has his mind set on something, you're not going to get him to change it. Shortly after, I was drawn to the noise of a quad crasher with a Chrysabelle driving it. I did some decent damage, but missed more than I hit, and they were able to escape. Then I realized that somebody else was here, and SMG me in the back. I proceeded to bot out, take off their shields though with my pistol. They built over me, did a bit of damage, and then went down the hill. I thought this was giving me an advantage because, well, high ground, but they had Spider-Man. Jonesy was trying to help, bless his heart, but unfortunately, it didn't really matter. Because mere moments later, I peeked when I shouldn't have, and paid the price. Game number 4. It's back to the same spot again. I actually really like this spot, so you'll see me dropping this vault in particular a fair bit. Once again, the chest was on top of the hill, and I was able to loot it. As I slid on down into the actual location, I discovered a sweat who sat there and let me shoot them to death. Goodbye, Anonymous. I have no idea what happened. I guess I had a better gaming chair. However, this time, I decided to finally go for the vault in a way that would actually work. Instead of having to get Jonesy to cooperate, I could just kidnap somebody. While the vault scanned the bodies, I had to go deal with this person's friend. Bye, 7 sentries. But see, they do a lot of damage. This fella almost killed me. With the vault open, I was able to find some much needed meds and some better weapons. Honestly, opening one of these vaults in the early game can really give you the loot advantage. It usually doesn't really give you the epics and legendaries. However, some blues and good meds can definitely be beneficial to you in the long run. Especially in competing with people who jumped at some of the other hotspots. Another thing to note, if you were ever in a pinch while inside one of these vaults, use the porta potty. It functions like those back in Chapter 2 Season 2, where if you hide in them, they will transport you to some other connected porta potty and will get you out of that location in a pinch. They're great for saving time. I also was able to find a hidden gem fragment buried in the ground, so porta potties have uses. Once again, it was time to rift out of the vault and glide my way into the safe circle. Unfortunately, I was unable to actually complete this game because real life called and I had to go, so I DC'd a bit early. Game number 5, we are dropping at the 7 vault right next to Coney Crossroads and soon to be unthawed Tilted Towers. So I know, yes, I know it's unthawed now, but again, this footage is old. Bear with me. Surprisingly, nobody dropped here, so I had the whole place to myself. And the 7 sentries. An important thing to note about looting this particular vault is that the actual vault room is pretty dang open. There's an open roof, which will allow people to peek right on in and potentially catch you off guard and shoot down on you. And build physics are weird in here, so you might not always be able to build ceilings and things to protect yourself. But while dropping down in here, I was able to find one of those rare Christmas presents and was able to get a legendary SMG. And also loot a chest for a decent rifle. Another thing to note about this particular vault is that there's only one 7th century here. So it is best if you want to actually loot this place to either try your best with a companion, bait some animal in, or just wait until you play a squad mode where you have more teammates, because if you kill that 7th century, they're permanently dead. You can't carry them with you. So opening the vault that way is impossible, unfortunately. But after looting the area around the vault, I headed over to this yellow house. What could possibly go wrong? I found a purple AR in there, which was a nice find. And as I was making my way past these bushes, I noticed an Ura making their way to this blue house. After botching some clingers and missing all of my shotgun shots, I was somehow killed through one of the walls. Whatever, that was dumb. You better believe there's loot in the mountains today because, well, we're back in the mountain base. I was thankfully greeted with the blue AK right on top of the hill. Now it's time for some kidnapping. And some casual murder. Thankfully this guy didn't hit me this time. As I made my way down the mountain, I noticed a fight going on at a gas station. I decided to contribute to some chaos. This person decided they wanted to try to Spider-Man Mythic away, but didn't get away. While I may have missed a lot of shots, I was eventually able to SMG this person down. Honestly, this season an SMG can be used in place of a shotgun. They are really good. But then this Castaway Jonesy decided they wanted to try to approach me, then they started running away. I hit their quad crasher so they knew what's up. Not long after that, somebody else decided they wanted to start harassing me. I thought I was going to Valheim them, but no, it stopped way too short. And then I heard some Spider-Man. And Omega decided that they wanted to pay a visit. Lovely. After some pretty crappy builds, honestly, and falling off of those builds, I tried getting the Omega down on my level. But the combined force of them and whoever the frick was shooting at me didn't make this an easy fight. I was able to reload my SMG and maintain some high ground over my opposition, but they managed to free themselves quicker than I would have thought. Was able to get a little bit of healing off, but they were more prepared than I assumed. They weren't in the box I thought they were in. The person still wouldn't leave me the frick alone. I tried shooting at them and didn't get anywhere because, well, I don't know. I'm not great at sniping anymore, I guess. And within seconds of using that shield potion, I was ambushed from below by the Omega. Missed almost all my shots, broke their shield, and unfortunately was sprayed to death by Fatal Killer. This time we're back to the one near Greasy Grove. This one's also kind of nice and I like it, and yeah, we're going here again. I dropped by the porta potty and found a chest here. Had a shield potion, which I immediately used instead of waiting for minis like a smart person. Oh well. I noticed a person harassing the 7 agents, and one had already kidnapped one, doing my job for me. This Nogops was kind of slow and stood there for a moment, but I was wanting to give them some time to figure out where they were going. I heard the vault being unlocked below me, and the other 7 agent was locked into aggro mode on my opposition. This could work out. And it did. They killed the 7 agent who might have turned hostile to me, and I was able to kill them. And I get all the loot in the vault to myself. Thanks, Nogops. Merry Christmas. As I was leaving, I was hit in the face with a lovely glitch. Apparently, somebody decided they wanted to start bounty hunting me. But unfortunately, it didn't show me how close they were. Because normally, when you're being targeted, there is a pop-up that'll pop up on the side of your screen that'll give you a threat indicator of how close this person is to you. It just didn't do that for me, so I was left to try to figure it out. When I got sniped at, I was pretty sure that was the bounty hunter. Noticed an Ura on top of the hill. We engaged in a pretty sorry sniper fight. Neither of us were really any good at it. Thankfully, my builds are on point. As I made my way into the zone, completely ignoring the bounty hunter, I noticed the remains of a build fight with one of the victors still inside. They quickly died. Sorry, cheek clapper, but you got clapped, son. Then I saw the Ura. They had somehow survived the zone. So it's time for a sweat fight. Yay! Also, side note, the set that the Cube Assassin belongs to is the Glyph Ura set. Does that mean that the Cube Assassin is a cubic version of Ura? Am I fighting myself? After boxing myself in a few times, building over myself, I was able to finally kill this stupid Anonymous. Goodbye. After reloading my shotgun, I found some much-needed shield potions. They had a lot of spectators, apparently, with 4, including them, watching me. I heard the sounds of someone building up to me, so I launch padded away. I know when not to take fights. Back to the zone, it was probably a good idea that I got out of dodge. As I swam through the river and got ashore, I noticed a gingerbread person committing arson. I didn't really want to mess with that right now, so it's time to move on. I think I missed a gold thing in hindsight, but whatever. It's in the past now, right? I noticed a monkey trying to sneak up on me, but he had a Spider-Man mythic and was able to get away. Lucky him. Then, just like the rest of this match, I got shot at from behind by a Spider-Man. They missed their shot. I was able to get some early high ground shots on this pure white 8-ball. Botched the builds and ended up in zone. they really wanted to fight me in zone. I don't understand people like this. We're in zone. Why are you fighting? Why are we doing this? I was able to kill them, but Cranks was unfortunately the death of me, for I soon decayed away to the zone. I had a medkit too. It's time to cone. As I broke in, I discovered an epic chest containing a purple shotgun. A lot of people have been complaining about the pump this season, and at the start I was too. However, it's really grown on me, and honestly I kind of prefer it over the auto. It's fun. After farming some mats up at the yellow house, I heard the sounds of a quad crasher approaching. It was a fully kitted out Shanta, who wanted to announce their presence by honking the horn at me. They did a fair bit of damage with their SMG, but in the end, they were the unlucky ones. Why do you name yourself that, people? As I was progressing through the zone, I noticed a good old pickup truck beelining straight towards me with a fish at the wheel. I have a mortal vendetta against these fish, so it's my time to hopefully shine. However, they got some early shots on, and they were sweat. Unfortunately, the pump isn't really that great at range. I might have been able to get that shield potion off if I just sat there for 2 more seconds, but in the end, I guess I should have just left him alone. You already know what time it is. It's time to sweat. We're dropping at this one over near the Daily Bugle. One of my personal favorites, and you'll see me dropping here a few more times before the end of this series. I really like this place, actually. It has 2 rangers just walking around, so you were actually able to loot the vault in solos. And it has a fair bit of ground loot. And it's also close to a potential boat spawn. There's a boat that now circulates around the map, and it has a lot of loot on it, so this vault is actually pretty close to it. So even if you don't get the vault, you could potentially get the boat loot. Don't mind me just murdering the 7 again. Now they're the 6. Made my way past the Daily Bugle, and as I approached the swampier area near some ruins, I discovered a chest with a legendary MK rifle. Good find. I had eventually made my way past the sanctuary, home of the 7, and heard some shooting going on down near this old abandoned Mayan ruin thing. I saw a person being assaulted by wolves and decided to put them out of their misery. Hey, better a bullet through the face than being torn open by wolves, right? Uh-oh. Most of the wolves saw me too. Thankfully, I can hit my shots. I noticed that one of the wolves had diverted off and was chasing down this fish stick. While I wasn't able to hit any of my shots, I was able to scare this person into a quick and hasty retreat. Unfortunately, the zone was at my tail too, so I had to bounce away as well. However, I was able to spot this person as I was flying away, meaning it's time for an ambush. They saw me too, but hey, they missed their shots as well. And just like everybody else had been fighting, they had a Spider-Man mythic, but couldn't pull off a cool web-slinging shot. So at least I know that I'm not fighting the sweatiest sweat of all the sweats. We engaged in a bit of a chicken fight here, shooting our shotguns at each other and seeing who would hit first. He did, then I did, and then it kind of went back and forth like this for a bit. Was able to get a shield off, and marshmallow my way in. Tried to edit down at him, he had already moved. It became a game of cat and mouse, or in this case, soccer player and a fish. They tried to Spider-Man away, but didn't for some reason, so hey, thanks for staying and fighting, buddy. Was able to pop their shields, pressure with the rifle, and make my way into their box. Or so I thought. They managed to break their way out and escape into another box. However, I was able to catch them off guard and put a bullet in their toes, ending this weird squabble. That was a fun fight, though. Felt good to actually go full-on tryhard as a soccer skin. Now, something that a lot of Fortnite players have been complaining about are the existence of bot lobbies. Because to some, the Victory Royale is being devalued because of bots, and to an extent, I can agree. However, you will not see many bots in this playthrough. And for some reason, this lobby was one of the only times that you will. I noticed a group bot across the map from me, just wandering down the hill. This is the only bot I have seen in quite a while. I normally don't get bots on my solos anymore because skill-based matchmaking are like, hey, you usually get pretty high kill games sometimes, so you're going to fight every single sweat that's going to apply to the Fortnite World Cup next year. Just you wait. I swear if I fought and lost to one of the next Booga or something, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. I chased the bot into Rocky Reels, who the bot had engaged an alien skin. I decided to help the bot out because there's no way the thing was going to be able to win on its own. I decided to try to apply some fire pressure to them by blowing up a few pickup trucks, but this didn't really get anywhere and it wasted a lot of ammo. But hey, fire looks cool, right? And the Groot still died and I wasn't able to do anything to that poor human Bill, who just wanted to watch a good movie. As they tried to Spider-Man at me, I was able to knock them out of the sky, and I thought do a bit of fall damage, but they were able to immediately box up. As I was applying pressure to the human Bill, I was shot at by a third party. Lovely. It is the final 3 people after all, so everyone's going to be trying to get their licks in. And this Agent Jones was no exception. After taking a nasty fall and almost dying to it, I boxed myself in and went in for some heals. I took a few hits, and while standing on a pyramid, I was edited down by the human Bill. I was able to get the kill, but Zone did a whole lot of damage to me, and the Agent Jones jumped down and finished the job. Ugh. Alright, so this time we're dropping down in the desert. There's a 7 vault location just south of Condo Canyon, and this time we are going there. I heard footsteps inside one of the buildings and discovered a completely unarmed Shanta. That was probably a crime, but whatever. After we commit more murder, it is time to walk down the stairs and find out what secrets Vault-Tec has in store for us. Oh, wait, sorry, wrong vault. This vault is incredibly far away from Zone usually, so unless you got lucky and Zone landed in the desert area, rifting is probably your best bet, and that is exactly what I did here. I ended up at Rocky Reels, where I encountered the soccer skin, who was pretty dang good at the game, and I honestly should have left alone. But whatever, I'm not known for good decisions. And this sweat decided that they wanted to put up a lot of a fight. And so fight I did. It wasn't looking very good for me though. I should have honestly just stopped to try to heal. And I sort of did. I managed to get one shield potion off, but I should have played a bit more defensively, and instead I sniped the ground, and yeah, I don't want to talk about it. This was rough. Next up, we're going back to the same darn vault again, this time near the Daily Bugle. And what did I tell you earlier? There's the boat, which also draws a lot more people. I found Agent Jones here, which was the first time I'd ever seen him here. And I hired him, of course. I saw a frozen banana and decided I wanted a banana split. So using a chiller grenade, I pursued. Unfortunately, he had somehow managed to escape by the time I had gotten down to the shoreline. And before I knew it, I was under attack again, this time from someone on the boat. Well, first actually the Peely saw me, but ran away the second that they did damage, and then the person on the boat decided that they wanted to be annoying. Ow. After a long and arduous fight, I decided to retreat and rift on over to Sunny Steps. I know it's not called Sunny Steps, but it looks very similar to the OG location, so I'm calling it Sunny Steps. Don't at me. Apparently I was being hunted, but this time I could actually see how close this person was. They were in a build fight with another banana. The banana killed them, who was then approached by another banana. Soon the two bananas were at bloody war with each other, and I decided to be a good plague doctor and step aside. At least until the time was right. I also heard the sound of Santa Claus walking by. Unfortunately, the banana had seen me, so it was time to fight. Santa wasn't too happy with us. We were on the naughty list for sure. I was incredibly low on materials, and against two very angry Peelies, that usually doesn't go very well. However, I was able to kill one of the bananas. That felt nice. However, shortly after, I was attacked by his far sweatier brethren. I didn't make it. Game number 12, and we are back at the vault near Greasy Grove, this time dropping in as Frozen Midas. If you haven't noticed, I've been trying to keep a gimmick here of using a different skin every game. The only time I really reuse a skin is if I got bodied immediately. So you shouldn't see too many repeats because, well, dropping here does have its benefits of not being constantly under fire, so that's nice. After doing some looting, I noticed the sounds of a person. Doing some building up, I noticed I was being attacked. By who? By what? A tuna fish, who was very sweaty, but had no shields. And I had some decent materials to my name. After an interesting build fight, I was able to do a bit of damage to them as they try to drink their juice box. But unfortunately for them, their guava juice was no match for the power of my shotgun. And they died after I missed a lot of shots. But what's important is, they died. The zone was close, so I didn't even have to rift in this time. Instead, I just slid down a hill and walked a little bit. I heard some weird noises and thought I was being shot at. Turns out it was the shark just eating the dock for breakfast. I made my way on top of a hill and was watching a player loot one of the little shack things, and I was suddenly surprised by another player. It was an old drift. Haven't seen one of those in a while. But because this person's probably been playing since Season 5, they were pretty decent. And as such, I needed to play a bit more defensively. Although I think they got bodied by somebody else who decided to third party. Whatever the case, I'm incredibly short on medium bullets, which puts me at a bit of a disadvantage because now I cannot really fight at range. I spent some time collecting some more materials in the woods, next to all the Valheim trees. But as I was making my way into a bush to collect some more wood, I was shot by a llama on top of the hill. Thankfully, I had plenty of healing items, so I was able to shield back up after he left me alone. However, just like everybody else I fight in this game anymore, he had a Spider-Man mythic. And an SMG. Pretty strong combo, actually. However, I was able to do a bit of damage with my shotgun, and he was shot from behind, giving me an opportunity to pull back a little bit. Boasted for myself a lot, but it gave me a decent box to hide out in and shield back up. But the llama was still persistent. Somebody else was here too, and I know what I'm licked, so it's time to Spider-Man away, while leaving them a little parting gift. This llama refused to stop shooting at me, and did a lot of damage to me as I was trying to slide away again, so it's time to play some Valheim. I was finally able to get away from the llama temporarily, and started approaching this Chrysabelle. However, somebody else started shooting me in the back again. This lobby. I noticed another fight going on across the way, but built my way up to deal with this Chrysabelle. Within 2 shots, the Chrysabelle was dead, and I had their shields to my name. Hallelujah. It's a bloody Christmas miracle. After getting sandwiched between 2 more people, I decided the best bet was to Spider-Man at people again. However, I got underneath someone's build, botched a landing, forgot that they needed a recharge, and fell to my death, placing 4th. Some anonymous that I didn't even see got the kill credit, which was even more annoying. This time we are landing as Krampus at the Sanctuary Vault. Just across from the main 7th settlement of Sanctuary, there is indeed another vault. This one doesn't even have any NPCs near it, so you can't even get into it at all unless you have duo partners. Or get lucky with a shark, because that is, in fact, a strategy that I didn't do. So, sorry. For some reason, this chest didn't break after breaking the rock out from underneath it, so it's time to fix the broken laws of physics. After doing a bit of looting, I made it next to the Foundation statue as zones started to close in. A good thing about looting especially the farther away 7 vaults, like the one here at Sanctuary, is that nobody drops at them. So I was able to have that whole place to myself. However, I needed to relieve myself, so it was time for Evil Santa to hide in a bush. Trouble is, I destroyed most of the bushes, so I had to find one that I hadn't broken yet. And luckily enough, I did. So it's time to sit here for a few minutes get cozy because we're going to be here for a bit. Psych! Thanks to editing, I was able to skip back to the action. I had angered a Tom Holland Spider-Man somehow, and he was pushing me incredibly violently. I botched a few shots, and he did a lot of damage to me. However, he was pretty low himself. I was able to box himself off for a moment and get the winning shot on Angel DMW. Interesting name, person. Thankfully, there was also a campfire here that I could use to heal. And they had a victory crown. And a whole lot of other good loot, too. Man, Sanctuary had a lot of plunder to offer. Crown. As I approached this weird bush farm, I discovered a Haze, I think, is the name of that skin watching me. They were a sweat, and so it was time for Krampus to distribute some coal. I was able to get some decent high ground. Lost track of them because they vanished into thin air. Then found them again. They kept going down, which is not what you usually want to do for build fights. They got in this bush, and while they did a lot of damage to me, they didn't last a second against the gold auto shotgun. Soon after, I was approached by another player and decided to back away so I can get a chance to heal. As I returned to the scene of the action, I noticed sounds of some things being broken. A bot, one of the very few bots I had seen, had managed to get into the old build fights and paid the price. Goodbye, Cactus Dad. I am sorry to have orphaned your children. I was then approached by, you guessed it, another Ura. We're sorry, I thought it was an Ura at first, but no. It's worse. A Chrysabelle had seen me, and while I had plenty of shields, I didn't get much of an opportunity to use them. Because within a moment, the Chrysabelle was on top of me. Before I had a chance to blink, I was dead. Well, we're back in the desert with the skin with no name. Just kidding, it's Vertex. And somebody else was dropping at this vault. Lovely. As I landed, I found some grenades. And using them with lethal force, I stopped a kidnapping in progress. Unfortunately, I killed the down 7 agent in the process, which means that the survivor is going to be pretty unhappy. And also that I wouldn't be getting any of the vault loot. Boo. Once again, circle is far away, so it was time to rift away. After a ways of running, I finally encountered another player while fighting on this mountain. It was an MJ. And usually, they can be pretty sweaty. Unfortunately, I peaked a bit longer than I should have. But I was still in the fight. I had plenty of mass in my name. And Spider-Man web shooters. So I was able to move pretty effectively around the build fight. However, I only had a gray pump, which meant that any shots I would land with it wouldn't do too much damage. I hit him for like 14 or something. And they got on top of me pretty quickly. Popped it for 86, but unfortunately got stuck on them and they killed me. Lovely. We're back in the woods, this time as wildcard. Yay. After looting, it is time to rift because Zone was unusually far away from here. So, it's time to safe crack away over to Sunny Steps. I know I could have kept on going and made it to Zone pretty easily, but Sunny Steps was still unlooted, so I thought I'd pay it a visit. As I made my way by Sleepy Sound, I was shot at by a Skeletara. These Renegade Raider ripoffs decided that they wanted to become the new Sweat Skin. So it's time for a fight. Unfortunately, I was stuck in some trees, and I had plenty of shields to heal myself back up with. But they were also very aggressive. So within seconds, they were already on top of me. Being in the trees made for a very weird fight. And I botched most of my shots that could have given me an advantage. Popped their shields. But again, the trees are no fun to play in. Got the floor shot up underneath me. Botched a few shots, and died. Dropped back in the woods again this time as the Corrupted Voyager. And decided to make my way straight to Zone. But got shot at from somebody in the woods. And I'm also being targeted. Lovely. I don't really like the snowball launcher very much, and I'm glad it's no longer in the game right now because I don't really know how to use it. And it cost me my life. Back in the mountains this time playing as the good old rogue agent. Haven't used or seen this skin much at all. So I thought it was about time that I popped him back into the game. After kidnapping a 7th century, it's time to open the vault again. Good morning! Vault Tech calling. Drifting time. The zone ended up being pretty close to the Joneses on the opposite side of the map. We're down to 8 people because this lobby died really quickly. Saw an Axo fighting somebody in the Joneses. Didn't really want a part of that right now. It was a really quiet game. I hadn't seen a soul since I left the mountains, and hadn't even seen anybody then either. It was just a lot of running around at this point. Just trying to stay low and see if I could pick off anybody who wasn't paying attention. I saw Harley Quinn showing out in the middle of the road. What are you doing? You're just planning to get hit by a car. Or in this case, a stream of bullets. The Harley Quinn had a gold sniper rifle. A lovely upgrade. As the zone shrank down, I heard something. Did you catch that? That was the sound of somebody with a crown getting their experience boost from the zone. Yeah, it's audible to everybody. We could hear you. I noticed this person moving into a bush and idiotically decided to attack. Did a bit of damage, but unfortunately decided instead of building up and actually countering this Crisabel, it's best to just bot out and sit on the floor because what could possibly go wrong? I could just, botch all my shots and, well, die. Yeah, that could happen. Game number 16. This is actually my first game of 2022. So we're dropping at one of the 7 vaults near Camp Cuddle. One I haven't really talked about much at all. It's kind of sad because it's a pretty underrated place. I'm sorry. It's rifting time! As I made my way over to the 7 vault near Coney Crossroads, I heard the sounds of a... What? Some maniac carnage decided that they wanted to drive a vehicle through the lake at me. I mean, they had the off-road tires, so I guess it checks out. Lost a few shots, but they didn't shoot. Until then, but... They're not even trying. Carnage! You're known for being violent. Do something! Then he started getting third-partied. But Zone crawled up to me as well. I was a pretty bad shot here, but did some damage. Got them scared, got them retreating, and they got in their car and decided to go away. So I shot at them. And then the poor feller crashed into the side of a wall and died. We don't ask questions about whatever happened there. I think it was just destiny that they were going to die. Probably should have warned him that symbiotes weren't really the best drivers. Oh well. After healing, it was one botched launch pad away. As I was making my way to zone, I got ambushed by an Alpine Ace. Popped a shield one shot. And then we into this weird little fight here, which I won! With, like, no health. But I had plenty of ways to get that health back, so that's nice. Thanks, Guava Juice. Zone caught up to me again, and as I got out of zone, I was immediately met with a rain of bullets. Though thankfully, I was able to maneuver away from whoever was shooting at me. After a bit of waiting, Zone pushed whoever this person was out of hiding. It was a solid white superhero skin, but instead of having the full-on mask, they were solid white, except for their face. And I could finally see the fear in their eyes as they died. Goodbye. I hired the visitor near Sanctuary, so he would hopefully watch my back during this final circle encounter with the last 2 people. One person got sniped from behind, and that was a 1 versus 1, with the visitor at my side. So technically, it was a 1v2. However, I was apparently fighting an Ura who was really sweaty, and I hadn't played the game in a fair bit since last set of drops. I ended up panicking and building like a bloody psycho and not doing anything with the builds, and I was able to pop their shields, and honestly I should have pushed it, but instead I decided to play the low ground, and oh, what am I doing? This idiocy ultimately cultivated when I got myself stuck in a box at the bottom of the build, tried to heal, and within seconds, the Ur was on top of me. They pickaxed the wall, and instead of trying to replace the wall, I just shot and placed second. Ugh. Next round, hired Agent Jones. And we're back in the woods again. I'm literally, my skin is really bright, so I'm literally inviting invitation to shoot. But hey, at least it looked good. I don't want to talk about what happened next. Next game, we're going back to Camp Cuddle as a sort of Cuddle Team leader looking thing, but yeah, I know DJ Bop isn't exactly a Cuddle Team leader, but whatever. We are joined by Spider-Man. Yay! Spoilers for No Way Home. Spider-Man gets gunned down by an angry bear person. Not long after that, I had Karma come to bite me. A golden chaos agent showed up and decided to put a lot of bullets into me. But I put a lot of bullets into him as well. And then we entered this little stalemate thing for eternity, where we just sat there, occasionally poking at each other. But then not. Again, after a while, it just turned into a staring contest, with neither of us doing anything. I eventually got bored and decided to fly away, which is honestly probably the smart play to do. I eventually encountered a Chrisabel who ambushed me at this trailer park. I had a snowball launcher, which proved useful. Hooray! First time for everything! They had a lot of builds. I had a decent bit of builds, but little to no ammo. At the very least, I could at least annoy them with it. Found a shotgun, found some band-aids, found a ranger rifle, and a gas can. With little to no ammo to my name, it's time to get creative. So it's time to set this build on fire. It took a minute for the fire to spread, but it eventually did work and get them to move out of their structure, dealing at least 30 damage to them before they finally were able to move. They were taking far more damage at this point, and now Zone had caught up to us. I honestly thought they were going to die to Zone. So I played a little bit more passively here. But then noticed that they were building back up again, refusing to die. Lovely. It's a Chrisabel. What do I expect? I was eventually able to meet up with the Chrisabel again. Entered into a weird shotgun fight, which I won. I managed to escape the zone. As I was sliding down a hill, I encountered an OG PlayStation skin, who put a few too many bullets into me, and the DJ finally was no more. Game number 19. We're dropping in as Boba Fett towards the vault near Coney Crossroads. After gliding in like a bantha, it is time to commence the bounty hunting. Our first target was this Harlow, who didn't put up much of a fight at all. Died really quickly. But had some more ammo at least. That was nice. I heard noises coming from the building next to the one with the actual vault in it. I was not alone. There was a Chrisabel in there, and throwing some trusty grenades. The one that I didn't mean to throw actually got the kill. There are no accidents. After a whole lot of nothing, I got into a fight with this Uzi skin. I guess it's called Grimy. I have it. But whatever the case, it was a bit sweatier than I thought it would be. Both kept getting stuck on the zip line, though, so I thought I would have the advantage with them not figuring out how to use the zip line correctly. But they got above me again, meaning I had to improvise. They knocked me down with a snowball launcher. I tried to zip line away, but missed. So I had the low ground. Maybe I should have just stayed in the Sarlacc. Might have been better. Less humiliating. Game number 20. We finally made it. Dropped into duos with a good friend of mine. And guess where I dropped? A 7 vault. In the woods. We were blessed by Santa Claus, who threw presents at us. After deep consideration, though. I waited for my friend to catch up before we finally unlocked the vault and entered on in. I decided to rift over to Sanctuary to visit the Visitor and get ourselves a 3rd squad member to our little party. While landing on the island, I was attacked by my doppelganger, who was a bot. Rare to see these things, but we're in duos now, so I don't know what that means. Death. After hiring the Visitor, I noticed that my friend was in trouble, So it's time to be a good duo partner and assist. We were attacked by a few skins on the beach and a default from behind. I think the default was that bot's teammates, but the visitor and I had it covered. In fact, the visitor got the kill. Good job, buddy. My friend and I fought this unicorn and his partner, but my friend was able to get a few lucky shots in and knock down Mr. Beast 602836. If that was the actual Mr. Beast, then that's our claim to fame. After all that nonsense, we discovered that the unicorn had the Foundation's mythic rifle. That thing is really broken, but really good, so I'm not gonna complain about it because it's a legitimately cool weapon. After a bit of wandering around, we discovered this giant build fight going on. With 10 people left in the circle, it was time to finally get busy. Pushing in, we managed to take high ground by using their own high ground. Botching some shotgun shots, we were able to pressure through their walls, do some damage, pop their shields, and just enjoy this absolute insanity. He got downed by somebody in this box now who got immediately melted by the power of the Foundation's mythic rifle. With the visitor covering us from the side, I felt safe enough to try to revive my teammate. However, the visitor decided he wanted to play devil's advocate and open the side wall so he could be shot at. Thankfully, nobody took him up on that offer. After sharing some chug splashes, it's back in the fray. We discovered more people. The visitor had aggroed a Chrysabelle and her teammate, a Ronin. So it's time to spray at her, and the visitor killed the Chrysabelle, proving once and for all that bots are better than sweats. Speaking of bots, we discovered another one, who my teammate promptly sniped. Good hit. We decided to store the Foundation's rifle so we could grab it again in a different match. So instead, I substituted the best weapon in the game for a blue MK, which still isn't bad. It was still able to catch his Fable off guard. And this Batman bot showed up as well, finally giving us one win to end this series. And there you have it. This has been 20 drops at the 7 vaults. I've learned a little bit from dropping here. It's been mostly a safer place to drop because, again, fewer people drop there, but it gives you good early game loot. And a lot of the times, unless you get really unlucky, you'll make it to the end game with some solid loot to go off of. With rifts around, even if you don't get zone every time, rotating isn't too terribly difficult because of, again, the fact that there are rifts scattered across the place. And also, they're just generally nice places to be. If you have challenges to collect gem fragments there, then that's another good incentive to drop there. But while I was unable to get any solo wins here, rest assured that in previous dropping videos, we'll get some wins. That is if you want me to continue doing these. The reason I did 20 instead of something more extreme like 100 was because I wanted this to be more of a test run for the series. To see if you all would like to see this, or if this was too much of like a copy of another series, then let me know. And if it's something that you don't want to see again, then this would just be a one-off video that we can all watch once and move on. But if you guys enjoyed it, then I might consider doing more. I'd actually like to start doing some at places like Tilted Towers now to not only provide some content, but also get better at the game. And I think a good way to do that would be dropping at these crazier locations like Tilted Towers, Greasy Grove, and a few others I have in mind. Just let me know if you're interested in that. Also, I have to give credit where credit is due. This is not my original idea. As I mentioned at the start, the original YouTuber who started doing these 100 drops was Luke TheNotable. And while from what I've seen relatively recently, he's okay with other YouTubers using that idea for videos. He seemed to be kind of honored by it at times. Not trying to put words in his mouth, but that was one thing that he put in his comment section once. But at the same time, I also want to give credit where credit is due because he was, again, the original person who came up with the idea. And so I want to just give him that shout out. because, again, this is not my original idea. It's his. So check out his stuff. I will link in the description a playlist of all of his 100 drop videos so you can see what he's like. And show support to the father of the 100 drop series. So go show him some love. Tell him I sent you. Hope you enjoyed. And again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, Maxusthebeast is out.